Fix It Tony here. Thank you for clicking on my video. I wanted to go over the Honda Prologue. We actually just recently leased this vehicle, and talking to a lot of people, this is one of the highest selling EVs this quarter for Honda, actually as in the market as a total. And people are like, why? There's really not that much that's special about this. And what doesn't make it special actually makes it special. Let me explain to you my thought process on this and why we actually purchased this vehicle and why it actually is going to work out really nicely for us. So let's start off with simplicity. This is an EX model, so there's no frills. There's nothing crazy option-wise with this vehicle. It does have the major security suites, which include crash awareness, pedestrian protection, lane departure assist, and all that. So it has a lot of cool features to it, but it's what it doesn't have that makes it special. It doesn't have leather and all the other stuff that make these cars really expensive and kind of out of reach for some people. The other thing is it's built on the GM Ultium platform, or whatever they call it. They actually just renamed it again, but you get a lot of cargo space. So this is what they call a skateboard chassis. So basically there's a lot of GM stickers on this because everything at the bottom of this is GM, and some of the fixtures inside, including the steering wheel, which you'll recognize if you own a Chevy, is GM. So Honda made it their own. I think the styling is dramatically better on the Honda. I think that's why it's selling better. And this is the black pearl color, I do believe. It is an option, which who thought black would be an option, and an additional cost option at that. But you do get a lot of cool features, including extra space, no spare tires on anything nowadays. So you have your inflation kit, so God forbid you get an actual blowout. But in any case, you get good cargo space. It's decent sized. So far we really like it, and because it's the simple model, meaning it doesn't have a lot of options, this vehicle is $47,000. Now here's where the pluses come in and make this very, very reasonable. You are talking, $48,000 vehicle, $50,000 after tax, license, and everything else, the leases. And this is why we got this vehicle. There are some very attractive leases out there. After the tax benefit, conquest cash, and everything else, this only ends up being like $250 a month. You start doing the math, it's 10,000 miles a year, of course. But even if you go over mileage at 20 cents a mile, you're actually saving money still, because of the cost of gas is equivalent to that. So even if you have to buy miles at the end instead of buying the vehicle, you're actually still doing quite well. This also does support fast charging. It has an 85 kilowatt battery. You have a fast charger. You can get an adapter where you can actually get hooked up at the superchargers for Tesla, and you can charge up to 80% in less than an hour. Pretty awesome, actually. With 85 kilowatts of battery power, you have almost 300 miles of range, and people are reporting quite regularly they're getting over 300 miles. That's very good. Now, how are they getting 300 miles? And this is where the simplicity of this vehicle makes sense. Kia, the Ioniq 5, and the Teslas, they're ridiculously fast. They're land missiles. And I say the land missiles because the average EV weighs over 5,000 pounds. So you have a vehicle that's 5,000 pounds that does 0 to 60 in 4 seconds, something in that range. You can do some real damage. And we go back to the reason we bought this vehicle. We need an extra vehicle because of our sons to be running around doing things. Our kids need to borrow the vehicle. I don't feel comfortable them being in a car that is that fast. As fast as, a Lamborghini or a Maserati or whatever. It doesn't make sense for them to have a vehicle that is that quick. So this, again, weighs about 5,000 pounds, but 0 to 60, which we'll test here in a minute, is only between 6 and 7 seconds. It's like a normal vehicle. But because it doesn't use all crazy amount of power or have that power available to it at all times, which you're very rarely ever going to use in regular world situations, it can now be more efficient, and that's where you're getting the 300-mile range out of. So most level 2 chargers are charging at 6 kilowatts, which means that this vehicle has to be left on a charger for over 10 hours if you're charging all the way up. Again, nobody recommends you charge all the way up. If you're new to the EV game, you should only charge these to about 90 to 95%. Charging them over that will create a problem where the battery life will be degraded by charging to 100% constantly. So charging to 80 to 95%, this is going to give you longevity. Again, because of range now, you're looking at the other competition that even shrinks their range even more. So again, that adds to this vehicle, and its popularity is now because you're only charging to 80 to 95%, you have more range, and that's really what people are looking for. So one of the minuses to this, it doesn't have a frunk, and it has actually an engine down here, and this is the GM platform, and you can probably see there's some AC Delco stuff down here. So that's kind of a minus. The Teslas had the frunk, a few of the other electric cars had the frunk, which is a front trunk, but honestly it has enough room in the back that I'm not really worried about it. This is a front wheel drive model again. It helps with efficiency, but you get less horsepower. You get more power and faster 0 to 60 time with the all-wheel drive, but again you get more cost. And again, the whole idea behind buying this vehicle was to save money. So anywhere we could, that's what we did. So with that said too, charging, that's some people are afraid of the charging situation. Just understand that chargers are available everywhere. When you buy this vehicle, you can choose to have Honda pay most of the cost of putting a charger at your home, or you can buy the portable cable, which can plug into a normal 110 plug, which gives you a little bit of charge, not a lot, or you can put in a NEMA 50 amp, which is not terribly expensive. Again, Honda helps pay for that. Or you can find local chargers, sign up for every EV app you can get, and that way you can get their special discounts and things like that. The average, if you have to pay for it, is between like $20 and $30 to go from like 10% up to like 90%. So it's very inexpensive considering the cost of what gasoline costs. It is cheaper for electric when it comes to that. A lot of places like libraries and state buildings and stuff, if you live close to, like we do, to a college, they do have free charging there. So I leave this car here overnight over at the charging place and let it charge up, and I don't ever pay for it. Also, Honda does give you $300 in credits when you first buy this vehicle, and that's like an entire year worth of charging. If you do the math, if you're doing 10,000 miles a year, I mean, you're getting a pretty good chunk of that paid for. So really, again, this whole idea about buying this vehicle was to save money, and that's what it's doing. They're also, again, looking for that simplicity. Why are they looking for simplicity? Cost. You know, they're able to keep the cost down on this vehicle because it doesn't have all the crazy features. Some things that are lacking, and I will have to say, the Bose system is phenomenal on the Touring. The 6-speaker system on this one, it sucks. It really is not that good. It does leave a lot lacking for. The leather seats are very comfortable in the Touring. These are, my wife doesn't like them. I tend to think they're on the harder side. Maybe they need to break in the seats a little bit, but they are a little more firm. So there are some costs to it. But again, what are you getting? You're getting all the new tech, and I'll show you here what it looks like. It's pretty neat. So again, all right, so we're in the vehicle. It has all the new features you would expect from a new vehicle, including Apple CarPlay wireless, which the neat piece about that is you can go ahead and just put your phone in the wireless charger here. It'll charge, and it'll play your Apple CarPlay right up here with no issue. Really neat feature. You have your maps up here. You can scroll through your screens, the different options you have there. There's a whole plethora of them, including the 3D map, which I really like. The screen quality is beautiful, super, you know, super vibrant colors, and contrast is perfect. You do have a lot of buttons here. If you do buy this vehicle, make sure you spend the time with your Honda guy and go through what all these buttons do, because there are a lot, including how the cruise control works, how the gap between, you know, it'll follow vehicles in front of you, which is kind of neat when you're on the freeway and, you know, you're paying attention, but you're, you know, again, maybe you don't see something happening ahead, the vehicle actually automatically starts slowing down. You also have your blind spot awareness right over here. You can manually turn on to charge the batteries when you're deaccelerating. Again, it'll be regen through the motor. It's pretty cool. This shaft here has all your windshield wipers, including the rear. To put the vehicle in drive, sorry, this camera is not being cooperative right now. You push the brake, you pull in, and it goes down to drive. You want to go to the reverse, you pull in, you go up, that's reverse. You want to go to neutral, again, you can only do this from reverse or drive, you got to pull it towards you. To go back into park, you push the button here at the end, and now you're in park. One of the features I don't like, and maybe I just haven't figured it out yet, it does have a parking brake, electric like everybody else, so you can turn off your lane assist, but the parking brake doesn't turn off on its own sometimes. I've gone through all the settings. I probably have to go back to the dealer and talk to them about it, but that should auto set and auto reset. So that's kind of a maybe something's going on with the way it was programmed in the beginning. Who knows? So some of the pluses here, you do have dials, and again, one of the reasons that this car sells so well, I believe, is again it's an easy transition from a normal gas vehicle to an electric vehicle. A lot of the features are the same. It drives very similar to a normal car. It's not horribly crazy fast, as you can see from our 0 to 60 test. 7 seconds is what I was thinking actually, but it drives normal. The brakes feel normal. The ride is very, very good. It's a little bit on the firmer side. Handling's very good. The brakes are very good. You also get hard buttons here. So, if the auto manufacturers can hear this, please leave hard buttons in vehicles. And it just comes down to these screens are confusing. You can pick up an iPhone and figure it out pretty easily. These, especially in some of the cars, they're very difficult to figure out. You got to really go through and figure out where everything is. Even trying to figure out how to get set the audio settings. And I'll give you an example here. So we push home, we go to settings. So where would you think you would go in to adjust your bass and your treble and all that? And it's not what you think. You would think it would normally be in sound or something like that, or under the radio program. It's actually under vehicle, and then you got to go to audio settings from there, and then go to sound, which is fine. But the problem is it's a lot of clicks. You see how many clicks I had to do that. It's kind of complicated. And then the sound of the speakers on this is like mono. It's not like stereo. You get into the Bose one and the Touring trim, it sounds way, way better. Like there's not even a comparison. So I don't know why there's such a gap, but that's Hondas in general. I found that the sound quality between their base stereo and their upline stereo, big difference. I don't understand why they just go cheap on that all the time. But again, with the hard buttons here, we can easily get to where we want to go. We can adjust our temperatures. We can do a lot of things simply right here by looking at it. So that's pretty neat. This does have air conditioning and it does have a heat pump, which is way more efficient for heating instead of heating fluid and all the other stuff that some other cars do. So you have a more efficient air conditioning system in this vehicle. You can program a lot of this to yourself, which is things that you like. You can go to vehicle status. Some of these things are pretty easy to figure out. Some of the things are more complicated. But again, spend some time with your person if you are buying it. When you're getting it from the dealer, don't think you can figure some of the stuff on your own. So you do have your wireless charger. You do have USB-C chargers here and in the back. You have vents in the back. The seating and the room in the back is actually very plentiful. Everything folds down back there. The cargo space is good. You have a little bit of a sloping roof, but visibility, as you can see, is very good at the back. So lots and lots of pluses to this vehicle. The only minuses is really the seats are a little more firm than we would like. The stereo kind of sucks. But again, this is a baseline model. If we paid more money, and again, when I say more money, and this is where we get into the money aspect of all this, you start adding things like leather and, the touring model with the Bose system and all that, you're looking at over $100 more a month. So think to yourself, are those things worth $100 more a month? If they are, go ahead and get the touring model. If they aren't, like it wasn't to us, then yeah, save yourself the money. Because again, we were never planning on keeping this vehicle. So please take a look at these vehicles. If this is definitely worth your pondering and taking a look at and see if it will be something you would enjoy. But if you have any questions and concerns, or you want me to test anything on this vehicle for you to kind of show you beforehand, and I'll be doing updates on this vehicle, including comparing it to like my Lexus to kind of get an idea of older car versus a newer car and kind of the pluses and the minuses and what makes more sense for you. Um, I'm happy to do that. Maintenance is pretty much non-existent on these vehicles too. Just rotate the tires, keep the undercarriage clean. So, I mean, that's really one way you're saving money on this vehicle and why people are doing it. So, please like, subscribe, and share. And again, if you can think of anything you would want me to do, I'd be happy to do it. Otherwise, have a happy new year. Thank you for watching.